I'm Olinka Rublak, and I'm interested in how dress changed in history and how history can be about clothes. I'm fascinated by the Renaissance. That was a period which was intensely interested in tradition, the classical tradition, but also in ingenuity. During my research into dress in 16th century Europe, and in particular in the city of Augsburg, I found one of the most unique documents ever created in the history of fashion. This is a manuscript with 137 images compiled by a man who was the head accountant of one of the most important merchant firms at the time, the Fugger merchants in the beautiful city of Augsburg in southern Germany. Now, he compiled these 137 images just of what he had worn from when he was a baby to when he was a man in his 60s. When I'd finished my writing about Schwarz, I decided I wanted to try a historical experiment, and that was to recreate one of the outfits he wore. Very little of the dress in this period survives, and having this recreated by someone with the appropriate skills would tell us so much about what it meant to actually wear such clothes at the time. So in material culture, we're moving away from just looking at texts or even images to get a much better sense of how performance worked, what the object was and how it was used in a particular historical setting.
When I'm trying to reconstruct the kind of clothes people wore in the past, it's really quite like being a detective. You have to look for clues because very rarely do you find the answer to how to dress somebody in a particular outfit from one source. There are four crucial elements to any kind of clothing: the materials that things are made of, the shape of them, the construction method, and the context.
Out of the 137 images, I chose the outfit which Schwarz had made when he's 33. He's single, he has quite a lot of money because of his job as a professional scribe, and he wants to get a really elegant, perfect, fashionable outfit for a particular occasion. And that was the Imperial Diet in Augsburg in 1530, which was one of the most important political and religious summits of the time. Now, of course, in this period, in the 16th century, we have no luxury brands. There's no brand to just buy off the peg. So a customer like Schwarz had to put a lot of thinking into having this outfit completed with all its accessories. He would have to work out how to dye so brilliantly yellow and so brilliantly red, and how to source the fabrics. You would arrive at your tailors with the fabrics you wanted to have made up. And you would then go, for instance, to an embroiderer. You would have new shoes fitted to go on the hose. We know that the hose was made of leather, so he would have to source that as well and get the dye right. So lots of people, lots of artisans were involved in creating such a splendid outfit. And this outfit was, on the one hand, about displaying status for sure. It was a power strategy. He tells us that he had it made to please the emperor's brother, Ferdinand, and we know that this power strategy worked very well for him because he was later ennobled by Ferdinand, even though he was only a middle-class head accountant. But moreover, we know that these colors, brilliant red and yellow, were associated with joy in this period. They expressed him emotionally. So Schwarz also wanted to show he was joyful because the emperor and his brother were coming in, and he was aligning himself with the empire and with Catholicism in the troubled period of the Reformation.
At the beginning of this project, I couldn't find a surviving example of a shirt of this particular shape. I went on a holiday to Naples and saw a set of clothes from the Aragon family, and they've been displayed in the treasury of the church. And there was a shirt that was incredibly similar in construction to the Schwarz shirt. And it's a fundamentally different cut to most 16th century surviving shirts, in that the sleeves continue up and form part of the neckband with the main body of the shirt at the front and the back, so that both sleeves and the whole body are gathered very densely into this tight neckband on the neck that ends in a beautiful little frill at the top.
In order to wear those clothes, he would have had to slim beforehand. We can see he filled out a little bit in the years before, and he clearly made an effort. And his idea was this very sleek, slim look to then be laced very tightly into this doublet and hose. Now, what I'm interested in is this interlinking of how he shaped the clothes he wanted to wear, but also how the clothes in turn shaped him, would shape his movements, would shape his perception of weight.
The description of this particular image of Schwarz includes the words for the silk, the particular types of silk that his paned, or the different strips of his doublet, is made from. And they're described as the red being of Atlas silk, which is commonly known to us as a term for satin, for shiny silk satin. So we have red strips of shiny silk satin alternating with this beautiful vivid yellow silk damask.
This outfit was created for a very special occasion, and it would have been costly. But we can see from other images that he could achieve, and people right across society could achieve those looks with much cheaper means. They could, for instance, mix a cotton and linen mixture that was made locally with many of the very brightly dyed half taffeta, half silks that were available at the time. And if you slash the black cloth and if you pull through the lining, it makes a tremendous visual statement. It creates a visibility when you're in the streets of one of these Renaissance cities. And we know also that women across society not just wore blonde braids, but they could buy relatively cheap hair pieces which were colored red or green or purple, as I found out. So we have to recreate a sense of how colored that society was, how the look of the past is really very different from what we imagined. Historians now typically think that before the 18th century, only the very high elites had access to high fashion, and that everyone below the high elites wore sackcloth almost, greys and beiges, and this is just not true.